Hey everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. It is September 30th, Sunday, when I'm recording this video, and I can just hardly believe we're almost into October. Man, where does the time go? This year has just like flown by like that. Still waiting for a little bit of fall-like weather as we're showing in the high 80s, almost 90 until next weekend, but it'll get here eventually, I have faith. Today I want to start the week out by talking about the best resource for raw food diet info. You know what I believe, self-sufficiency is power. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you haven't already done it, please go down there and hit that subscribe button now. Then you got to go hit the bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Yeah, it's hanging on longer this year. YouTube does not keep people subscribed to channels. I was looking for some stuff yesterday, things that I'm subscribed to that I was no longer subscribed to. But anyhow, I've talked about this before. Listen, I want people to be self-sufficient. I want all the power to be in your hands. There's no reason for you to be waiting for anybody else. There's no need for you to be dependent on anybody else. You can do this whole thing on your own. If you never had another conversation, if you never asked anybody a question, you could still figure out a lot. Now, I'm not saying we never ask questions, there's never any clarification, and it's all like this, but this will take you a long way. When I want to know stuff, I go to two sources. I go to Google and I go to YouTube, both owned by the same person, coincidentally. And you just search right in there, and it's efficient. You cut through all this because I see things in there like, okay, for instance, I've got, and I'm in front of my computer here, so I've got Google open and I have YouTube open. And in both of them, I just did the most basic right there of searches. Searched these exact words, how to start a raw food diet. Maybe you've got your computer in front of you, or maybe you stop this and you go do it. Go get on Google right now. Go get on YouTube right now and type in how to start a raw food diet. Then you'll go down the page and you'll see a lot of different stuff. Now, some things you're going to have to hone your process. I've been doing this for several years now, and I just kind of am in tune. But I watch a lot of stuff. Like, you know, if you're brand new to it, you might go down the front page. You might know nothing. Maybe you watch a little bit of everything on this front page. Don't always just stay on the front page. Sometimes you got to go to that second page. Although as I'm scrolling down, it doesn't seem to be by page anymore. It just keeps scrolling down. But get an assortment of stuff. And I say do it on YouTube and on Google because different results will come up. A lot of times, and here's something else too on YouTube, don't necessarily go for, in fact, I would almost say don't go for the videos, the ones that are like mega views, like over 1,890,000, whatever. Those tend to be a little bit more of a popularity thing. It's not necessarily, ooh, this is the highest authority on the subject. In fact, I'll give you just a little example here about that, about numbers and about just a philosophy in general. A lot of things you'll see on here, if you search raw food diet, raw vegan, different things like that come up related to 80-10-10. Now, the purpose of me using this for an example is not to start something about 80-10-10, pro or con. It's just to make a point. Whether you know, that's your thing or not. You'll see stuff that comes up that are people that are talking about how to do 80-10-10 that just have huge numbers, have huge channels. Yet, and regardless, again, whatever you think of the guy, Doug Graham, who wrote the book 80-10-10, who is the expert on the book, whether you agree with 80-10-10 or not. Remember, I'm just using this as an example. Why would you listen to all these people giving opinions, blah, 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 instead of going to the source? Why do we not always go to the source when it's possible? When we can go to the source, let's go to the source instead of going to somebody giving us an interpretation of the source. People are always saying, Jack, why don't you do a video on this? Why don't you do a video on that? I like to point you in directions because, quite frankly, I'm not going to do justice to a lot of subjects that somebody who is an expert on this subject will. So right there. I would just say, you know, go to the source. Why do you want to learn? Think of it if we were in university. If you could go, you know, why are you going to add? We go into a big classroom. We're sitting in a big classroom with a lot of people in there, and the professor hasn't come in, or the professor's not there, or whatever, and we're just asking these random questions about the subject to other students in the room. Okay, if there's no teacher in the room, then okay, you get a little bit of information. But once there's a teacher available, once you can get your hands, why would you ask a student a question when you can get the information from a professor? You know, do you kind of see where I'm coming from here? And as I'm saying that, and then I'll switch over to Google here in a minute, as I'm saying that, I understand YouTube. But, and you should understand YouTube as well. There's a lot of different purposes to YouTube. And when I just said that about, okay, don't necessarily go to the big number people or whatever for your information, there's reasons people go. Like, people come to YouTube for entertainment. People come to YouTube for information and learning things like what we're talking about. And people sometimes just simply come to YouTube because they want community, they want a group, they want to reach out, they want to talk with other people, they want to be part of something. So all of these are valid. I mean, you know, I don't want, in my language here, I don't want to say, well, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. It's just that you should be aware of how you're spending your time and know that there's a very efficient way to, you know, to get this information. You know, you ask a question, whether you ask a question in a comment on somebody's video, or whether you go on to a Facebook group, or wherever you just put that question out there in the public waiting for somebody. As I've mentioned many, many times before, number one, you have to wait. Y'all probably picked that word up already. You've got to kind of sit there and wait until somebody, you know, answers. If you're doing it in a big enough public forum, you're going to have so many different opinions. You don't know if there's crackpots in there just giving ridiculous answers. So you've got to wade through a bunch of stuff. Keep that control in your hands, and you can search things very, very specific. Like I say, how to start a raw food diet, and you got a whole page of different things. And as you're watching these videos, watch things that contradict each other. Don't find something that's appealing to you, that you like, or you like this particular person, or you like. In other words, be objective. Go in with an open mind. Watch something, and then watch something that contradicts that, and watch something that says that what this person said was stupid. Figure this stuff out on your own, because that's the only way you're going to hone your process, is watching a lot of different stuff and figuring out what makes sense and what doesn't. The reason I use Google as well is I like articles. I like to read. Sometimes you take the celebrity factor out of it when you search on Google, and you tend to get blogs, you tend to get excerpts from books, you tend to get magazines, you tend to get a little bit more professional ideas over there, although not all. I mean, you know, not all by any means, but so I like to do both. You know, if I'm really searching for something, and that was just something general. But hey, if you were, let's say you're a newbie watching this video for the first time, you could start right there, and you would get so much information in just a few days. If you started and you didn't ask anybody any questions in the first few days, you didn't interact with anybody, didn't get involved with any groups, just did your own thing. Went to Google, went to YouTube, and did this. You start right there. How to start a raw food diet. As you're hearing people talk about things, questions are going to come up. Put those same questions right into those two places, Google, YouTube. Where do you get your protein on a raw food diet? Type that exactly. Where do you get your protein on a raw food diet? Where do you get your calcium on a raw food diet? People ask me all the time. I see people ask in Facebook groups, can I eat this raw? Should I eat this raw? Do I digest this raw? Ask all that stuff in YouTube and Google. Now, if you were to do this, let's just put it like this. I have no doubt, this isn't scientific, but I have no doubt you could spend 6 hours a day over the course of a weekend doing this, or you could just randomly bump around. You could go to your group, you could go to this Facebook group, and hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, what do you think about that? Or hey, none of those other methods would even match up efficiency-wise to the information you can get yourself. You're going to always be the best advocate for yourself. I really want to give people self-sufficiency. I really want to take this whole, I need to follow somebody forever. You know, theoretically, I've mentioned, I know I repeat myself a lot. That's just us old senile people. I listen and watch Gary Vaynerchuk a lot, and he actually kind of almost chases his audience away, because he's almost like, you know, if you've been watching me for over a year, 2 years, why? Why? He's like, you know, that means maybe you haven't taken this information and applied it yourself. And you have to ask yourself, if you're, you know, if you're continually following people year after year, but you're not really doing it, like, you know, what's it all really about? You know, and this could translate over to many, many different things. It doesn't have to be all about raw food. It doesn't have to be about health. It doesn't have to be anything related to this subject. People are fixing like people that know nothing about fixing things, fix their toilets, fix their sinks, repair things around the house, because it's out there right at our fingertips now. We don't need to rely on other people. We don't need to ask as many questions as we used to in the past. I do this stuff all the time. You know, and there in little things, I want to just throw out as much as possible to give you, oh yeah, maybe there's something I didn't think of. Even when I'm trying to make something, even like a recipe, a lot of times I'll search just a small portion of what I'm trying to do, because I find some little trick, you know, how does this mix with this, or how do I use this to do this, blah, blah, blah. But I can usually find pieces to put my recipes together. Everything you can find. Listen, I'm going to stop right there, because I will just be repeating myself over and over, but try it. I'm begging you, just try it. Just try it for a few minutes. Don't even do it with the raw food thing. If there's another subject you're interested in, maybe you're trying to learn about right now, whatever, just do it. Those two sources, go in there, do some searches for yourself, do some research for yourself, and even if you're doing the other stuff as well, even if you still want clarification from other people, even if you still have questions you want to ask and you want to get them answered directly from some person, you will be more educated on the subject. You will understand more what the person is telling to you. You will ask better questions, and just in general, you will get to that place of health quicker. Remember, this is all about getting to the best version of our health possible. Anyhow, that's all I got today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Hope you have a beautiful week, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.